Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be. I'm your humble host, Mr. David Null, also known as Hawkeye Two Feathers, my shamanic name. I greet you with love, honor, respect, and which is part of the title of this particular video. And today, well, actually, it's now Friday, 1:15, 1:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Yay, we're back to normal time. And we just came out of the midterms. This is Friday morning early. And I was going to do this earlier and I got sidetracked. But I decided to do a little bit more homework on what my thoughts on what ethics, honor, respect actually were. So I went to Wikipedia. And so if you are watching this, I'm going to be reading from Wikipedia from the word honor, from the word respect, uh, and from the word, oh, I forgot the other one. I'll bring it up here in just a second. Ethics, yes, please. Ethics. Now, there's a lot of stuff going on in politics, and I bring this up because, I did a video or several about the Jim Acosta thing and what happened at the White House. And I used the words, disrespectful and he didn't honor the presidency and so forth. And I got to pondering on the words, and I have spoken about this before. Now, I wish to extend my humbleness to all of you. And when I say I've spoken on this before, I want you to understand I'm not trying to, be some kind of know-it-all. I'm just saying that, I've spoken on this before as a matter of reference, okay? And not that I'm correct or I'm the know-it-all. I'm learning. I'm learning how to disseminate the information that I've learned over the years and so forth. And as part of my job as a watchman and as a messenger, and to try to help each of us to understand what's going on. And some of the craziness that's it's just, oh, please, it's outrageous, correct? And so I've spent the afternoon with a good friend of mine. Had a chance to vent a little bit and read some more news and a couple of other things. And I noticed, and I said so in my previous video, that what these crazy folks were trying to do was blame the intern for accosting Acosta, and I called for his, resignation or be fired by CNN because he has been a disgrace more than 3 or 4 times that I can recall. I mean, quite simply, the man is just very rude, and he pushed the limit, and I'm very glad that the White House said, "Sorry, sir, but you can't come back in." And to honor a woman, I'm sorry, but he's an older gentleman and much larger than that lady who came up, and which was her job, and the president asked, signaled her, she knew her duties, and he disrespected her. And I'm sorry, the people who are trying to defend the man, I'm I'm I, I'm not going to get upset about it because I got upset about it earlier, and I stated my point. And but to the point though that these people, I it got brought up. Where are the ethics of these people? And I mean, in the news media, people in the Senate and the Republicans. I mean, not Republic, the House of Representatives, and I mean, and just people in general. You know, and I'm thinking to myself now, did you not see the same video that I saw? And how did this woman attack him? All she did was reach for the microphone, which was what she was supposed to do. Mr. Acosta has been in the White House before. He's been in the press room. He knows the protocol. So his ethics went out the window. And so I'm going to read just a little bit about ethics, about honor, and I'm going to use Wikipedia as my dictionary, if you will, and just discuss this because really do think it's important. And as we're all are changing with these energies, that so many more people are waking up to the fact that, oh my God, I can feel the changes. And the things really are happening. And it's really agitating some people. And this may be a prime example of some of these energies coming in, affecting people in that bat crap cray cray business. And that Mr. Acosta's behavior was due to the fact that we were in a very high, the Mother Earth was going through some high Schumann resonances about the time this event took place. Coincidentally, by the way. So folks are being affected by these cosmic energies, whether you wish to believe it or not. But more people are coming on board with this who have just poo-pooed the idea for a long time. So I digress with that. But let's get into the ethics and thing. Finish my cigarette. I love you all very much, and thank you for coming and leaving the wonderful comments that you do. Thank you for having subscribed to my channel. I've never asked anyone to like or share the video. I leave it entirely up to you. And it's never about money or anything like that. And it's not to make me look good in the world, in the eyes of the world. It's for me to have a discussion with you and to say, hey, let's look at this from these different types of points of view. Has ethics gone out the window? And what is honor? What does honor mean? Honor a family, honor thy father and thy mother, to honor women or to honor men or to honor your children. What does that mean? What is loyalty in all of this? Why should you be loyal to anything? Should you be respectful to an office? And things like that. But as I discuss this with you right now, the idea that the being disrespectful and the way that Mr. Acosta handled himself was very disrespectful to himself, especially to the president, especially to that young lady, the intern, and also to the rest of the journalists in the room. And he made himself look like a daggum fool in front of the entire world. And I just find that just extremely disconcerting, if you will. All right. I'm going to try to do my best to be kind in this. All right. I vented on it earlier earlier this afternoon. So I'm going to try to stay away from the venting thing. Now you got to look at my ugly mug. I can't share the screen, but first I want to go to the word honor, and just read a little bit of it and kind of bring in another point of view into this thing. Hang on, I'm trying to get my Wikipedia up and running and have everything settled here. All right. I changed my mind. I'm going to start with the word respect. Now, respect is described here, and just type in respect into the Wikipedia, and you'll be able to read the same thing that I am. And so respect is a positive feeling or action shown towards someone or something considered important or held in high esteem or regard. Respect conveys a sense of admiration for good or valuable qualities. And it is also the process of honoring someone by exhibiting care, concern, or consideration for their needs and or feelings. It goes on. Some people may earn the respect of individuals by assisting others or by playing important social roles. In many cultures, individuals are considered to be worthy of respect until they prove otherwise. In other words, as long as you treat other people with respect, you shall receive respect. But as soon as you start disrespecting other people, then therefore you're considered unworthy of respect. So I continue on. Courtesies that show respect include simple words and phrases like thank you in the West, simple physical gestures like a bow in the East, a smile or direct contact, or by a simple handshake. Respect is shown in many different languages by following certain grammatical conventions, especially referring to individuals. An honorific is a word. Now here we're in on the word respect, and one of the first words that shows up is the word honorific. In other words, it is a word or expression, often a pronoun, that shows respect when used in addressing or referring to a person. Typically, or an animal, actually, it says. Typically, honorifics are used for second and third persons. For use for first person is less common. For instance, it is disrespectful to not use polite language and honorifics when speaking in Japanese with someone having a higher social status. In China, it is rude to call someone by their first name unless you have known them for a long period of time. In work-related situations, people address each other by their title. At home, people often refer to each other by nicknames or terms of kinship. In the Chinese culture, individuals often address their friends as juniors and seniors, even if they are just a few months younger or older. When a Chinese person asks someone their age, they often do this so they know how to address the person versus trying to find out, how old they are as a matter of reference. In physical gestures, in India, it is customary that out of respect, when a person's foot accidentally touches a book or any written material, considered to be a special religious book, or any person's leg, it will be followed by an apology in the form of a single hand gesture, pranama, with the right hand, where the offending person first touches the object with the fingertips and then the forehead and or chest. This counts for money, which is considered to be a manifestation of the goddess of wealth. In many African West Indian descent communities and some non-African West Indian descent communities, respect can be signified by the touching of fists, which is kind of interesting. That fist bumping and things in the United States had and still does in many ways, has achieved a certain modicum of respect. Two guys who respect each other do the fist bump or something like that. So anyway, you get my point. Many gestures, or I continue reading from Wikipedia. Many gestures or physical acts that are common in the West can be considered disrespectful in Japan. For instance, one should not point directly at someone. When greeting someone or thanking them, it may be insulting if the person of lower status does not bow lower than the person with higher status. The duration and level of the bow depends on many factors such as age and status. Some signs of physical respect apply to women only. If a woman does not wear cosmetics or a brassiere, this is interesting, it is possible that she would be considered unprofessional, or others may think she does not care about the situation. So each of these, the Chinese, Kaotong, in indigenous American culture, societies, the perspective on respect differs slightly because it serves as an important concept valued in their culture's context. Aside from meaning positive feelings of esteem or deference, is also viewed as a moral value that teaches the indigenous individuals about their culture. And this is the word respect. And it uses the word honorifics. which could also mean honorariums. But in addition, this moral value is treated as a process that influences certain participation in the community and also helps the individual develop and become integrated into their culture's community during childhood. Now, this is like Native American, okay? During childhood is when this value of respect is taught because indigenous children participating in and learning about their community is an important aspect of the culture. Respect as a form of behavior and participation is especially important in childhood as it serves as a basis of how the child must conduct themselves within their community. Children engage in mature activities such as cooking for the family, cleaning, sweeping, etc., caring for infants, and crop work. Indigenous children learn to view their participation in these activities as a representation of respect. I got to say, this is pretty right on. As a person with Native American descent, through his manner of participation of activities of respect is how children not only learn about culture, but also practice it as well. Now, this next section, guess what, is a short section, but it has to do with respect for authority. So let's see where this goes. Respect for authority is an indicator of good mental health. Let me read that again. Now, I had not read this earlier. Okay. I had planned to read these things kind of fresh in my mind. I didn't want to read too much, and I kind of wanted to do this with you. But here we go again. Now, I'm on Wikipedia under the word respect, and it's down towards the bottom, and it says respect for authority. Respect for authority is an indicator of good mental health. Now, so what did this gentleman do yesterday? He must not have good mental health, according to Wikipedia. Now, the next, it says, moreover, respect, it prevents individuals from being harmed or harming others. Guess what? He was harming others. Individuals that have a pathological disrespect for authority as are known as antisocial. How about that? Although antisocial individuals can intellectually comprehend rules, they cannot understand why they should be respected. Most normal individuals have an innate understanding of why it is important for them to respect authority, including collective security, individual safety, avoiding negative consequences, and maintaining order. The Christian faith specifically recognizes respect for authority throughout the Bible, including parental authority, civil authority, and divine authority. Now, I'm reading this straight from Wikipedia, all right? So it's like, okay, so let's start with Mr. Acosta's behavior yesterday. At the bottom of these explanations about respect, it says respect for authority is an indicator of good mental health. Individuals that have a pathological disrespect for authority are known as antisocial. So what was the behavior of Mr. Acosta? He's being antisocial. Next line says, although antisocial individuals can intellectually comprehend rules, they cannot understand why they should respect it. Now, I submit to you, my dear friends and colleagues of the conspiratorium, if you will, that Mr. Acosta must be antisocial. Even though he has the intelligence, he doesn't understand why he must respect authority. That, Wikipedia, look it up. Okay. So now, because Wikipedia, one of the first words it used, and I'm going to scroll back up here. Hang on just a second. I want to make sure that I get this correctly. One of the first words used in some of this is an honorific word. So we're using the word honor, and honorific is a title that conveys esteem or respect or position or rank when used in addressing or referring to someone or a person. Sometimes the term honorific is used in a more specific sense to refer to an honorary academic title. For example, Mr. President, okay? Mr. President is an honorific title, all right? And it's bestowed upon the president when he is uh, elected and then sworn into office. So, honorific brings us to the word honor. And it is in the idea of a bond between an individual and a society as a quality of a person that is both of social teaching and of personal ethos, and that manifests itself as a code of conduct and has various elements such as valor, chivalry, honesty, and compassion. It is an abstract concept entailing a perceived quality of worthiness. Okay, now respect also used the word worthy. Okay, so these things are very much tied together. And it says it is an abstract concept entailing a perceived quality of worthiness and respectability. There's the word respect that affects both the social standing and the self evaluation of an individual or institution, such as a family, school, regiment, or nation. Honor to the nation. Accordingly, individuals or institutions are assigned worth and stature based on the harmony of their actions with a specific code of honor and the moral code of the society at large. Now, that's the first main paragraph. I'm using Wikipedia, and the word is honor. And it is spelled Honour in England, and it shows up as that. When I typed it into Wikipedia, it actually changed the spelling. But in American English, we drop the U at the end. So we spell it Honor. However, either is acceptable, but Wikipedia shows the Honour as the correct spelling. Just wanted to throw that in there. So now we're talking about, in this first paragraph, worthiness and respectability is like the fifth line down in this paragraph of maybe 10 sentences. And so right off the bat, it ties right in with respect. Now, if you have respect for your children, you can have respect for your dog, then you will also honor them. Okay? These things are tied together. Now, if you kick your dog or whatever, or, throw water on the cat, or I don't know, play tricks, whatever it is, be mean to your kids, or, if you, that's being disrespectful. And by so doing, then you are dishonoring them, and that you have broken a specific code of honor and a moral code. You're not being nice. I mean, in order to have any type of code of conduct, it must include valor, chivalry, honesty, and compassion. So if you're picking on a critter or something like that, or a sibling, or it's I don't know, some parents pick on their kids, then that's not being very compassionate. So these things tie in very simply. So when you say that we should honor one another, that means we're being honest and we're showing compassion. We're trying to throw chivalry into this, which bring that into this type of thing, and valor. What does valor mean? Well, that's not in particularly tied with this, but you it's almost like you're a knight of the round table. There are certain qualities and you just uphold them. If it's right, it's right. If somebody's beating up on somebody and you go, well, it's their mess and I don't want to get involved, then shame on you. Wait a minute, maybe you should step in. Maybe there's, well, I don't want to get my butt kicked. Okay, that's understandable. But let's think about this in the bigger sense. I know there are times that I just did not want to get involved with some things, but it was the right thing to do. It's like to speak out about this Jim Acosta guy. Now, I'm using him because it happened yesterday, okay? But this thing with respect and honor and loyalty are things that I've been wanting to discuss, and it's been woven into some of my other discussions about our transition phase and the basics that we must learn. Now, if you're compassionate, you're going to have a very loving vibration. That's just, that's like should be a given. Okay, especially if you're here and learning about this at this particular time, you should know that to be compassionate to an animal, to a person, to the environment, be compassionate. It's going to if you haven't, let's see, if these changes that are happening right now, you are feeling more compassionate than you used to. Or, maybe, I don't know, something dinged in your head and you realize maybe you were mistreating the dog in a way that you just hadn't realized before. And that maybe, it's like I've got a cat and the cat got in the house one time and ate a loaf of bread and knocked over stuff on the counter. Boy, and I just tore into that cat and I was like, you're supposed to know better than this. Well, he got pissed at me and wouldn't come back to me. And I mean, he would like come and sit in my lap. And now all of a sudden it's like, he pissed me off. I pissed him off. And it's like, now he doesn't want to come near me. Well, the other day, after several months of like tomcatting around in the neighborhood, he shows back up at the house and like wants me to pet him. I pick him up for the first time in maybe a year, petting my cat. And I'm like, purr, purr, purr. Then yesterday, or maybe it was earlier today, I went out there. He was in the yard. I couldn't get near him. And I was like bringing him food and here you go, brother. Hey, you let me pet you the other day. And now I was like, I couldn't even get within 2 feet of him. So it's like, okay, but he remembers that I dishonored him and that I disrespected him because I whooped him a little harder than I should. I'm not going to lie. I had 2 fresh loaves of bread and he just ate into both of them and just, and I whooped his butt. I mean, I didn't hurt him, but I let him know that this was bad behavior. And I had not done that to him up to that point. So I'm using my own example in that. But the thing is that I did not show compassion with him. I should have just shoot him down and pushed him out the door. But at the time I was coming off of drugs and I whooped him. I slapped his butt and tossed him out the door into the yard, like out, didn't kick him, chase him or whatever. And then I went out and tried to apologize afterwards because I realized almost immediately, I was like, bad behavior, trying to fix this, and not something I should have been pissed about. So we got into the bread. It's just a couple loaves of bread, but I just got back from the store. Anyway, no excuse. But so in that, I didn't show compassion towards my one of my favorite cats, and now he's doesn't want to honor me. And okay, but can we let bygones be bygones? I've forgiven him, but he's holding a grudge. But that's the point. So what Jim Acosta did is an example in public of something that he did that's he's not going to be able to erase that. I don't care what he does, where he goes, whatever job he takes, and I still think CNN should let him go because he was disrespectful. He did not honor the presidency, regardless of who was the president. He disrespected the office of the presidency. I know I'm repeating myself, but he disrespected the woman, and we should honor women unless otherwise, as it said, unless they prove um, unworthy of our respect, then women should always have our respect until proven otherwise. That's a little creepy at the, at this juncture in time, because there are a lot of women who disrespect men. Just, it's really nasty out there. And that's my point about doing this video. Many people are disrespecting other people in chat rooms. I don't believe the flat earthers, but I'm not going around. I think they've carried some things a little too far, and there are things on the earth. There are flat spots. Is the earth, oh, well, I can't see the curvature, yada yada. Well, I've been on mountaintops and I've looked across and you can see a curve. I'm sorry. And I don't believe that we're inside a dome. I don't, because I use a telescope. Many things that I understand. They go, oh, well, you can see a ship if you're standing on the beach. Yeah. Well, have you ever gone out in a boat and went, a half a mile offshore and looked back? The earth is round. Okay. But my point is I'm not doing videos, custom flat earthers out and things like that. If that's what you want to believe, if that's where your head is at, okie dokie. But I'm not going to argue with you. Yes, some of your points that you have are very valid. But in my realm of thinking, some of these things that flat earthers are trying to sell me is that I'm living in a snow globe, and I just can't buy that. I just can't. But that's it. So, but I'm still not calling them idiots or nothing. That's just what they believe. So, but with that though, I'm trying to show them respect for their beliefs, even though internally I'm going to say this. Okay, internally I'm thinking these are a bunch of nut, but I'm not going around and I don't go into chat rooms, and I'm not lurking, slurping, or whatever. I might listen in and watch to see what's going on, and I chuckle off on the side, go, I'm sorry, I just can't buy that. But I don't even get in the chat room. I just watch and see what people are reacting to. Now, those people who are flat earthers, they're going to make sure, oh, you're wrong. The earth is flat. And I don't ever go into their chat rooms and say, out of respect, and to honor them in their belief and be respectful and compassionate, I don't go in the chat room and go, I think you all people are crazy. The world is round. Okay, I don't. But they will come into different chat rooms and otherwise and push their agenda on other people. And then the rest of us are nuts, and they'll say something cryptic or quiptic, or either way you could use that. And that they will say something like, well, you all, one day you'll all know that the earth is really flat. And I'm like, okay. And it's one day it's going to ding on you that the world is round. But okay, enough of that. But I'm just using that as a point of reference, because I'm still using the words respect, first word out, honor. Yeah, I'm going to honor their belief, whether I believe what they believe or not. Some of it, like I said, some of the things they state, some of the things are kind of weird, and I agree they're weird, but it doesn't mean that that makes the whole world flat. But I can agree to disagree, and I can say, okay, that's what you believe. All right, fine. But I don't get it. I'm not. It doesn't jive with me. But okay, fine. And that goes the same with politics. If this is what you want to believe, I think you're bat crap cray cray, but we're going to leave it at that. But I'm going to keep my personal opinion to myself unless you really start attacking me. But even then, I've learned that what good does it do to fight? Stand your ground, but you don't have to necessarily fight back. You don't have to get revenge. Oh, well, they said something nasty, and I got to say, oh, stop it. You can just say, look, I'm sorry you feel that way, and you said some really rude things to me, and I'm sorry that you had to go there. I love you anyway, And sometimes that'll get you into worse trouble. I know it has me. Try to be nice to people, and they just want to shit on you no matter what. So that's okay. But to the point though. So let's go on to this next word then. We've covered honor. I've used the first word out of the ballpark, respect. Now let's discuss the word ethics. I'm reading from Wikipedia. Type in the word ethics, and there you go. So, ethics or moral philosophy is a branch of philosophy that involves systematizing, defending, and recommending concepts of right and wrong conduct. Systematizing. That would be like to categorize, or maybe, like in a file cabinet, there's different kinds of ethics or different types of philosophies in this. So they're systematizing. All right. The field of ethics, along with aesthetics, concern matters of value and thus comprise the branch of philosophy called axiology. Woo, there's some really big words in there. And I'm not going to get into all this. I'm just going to read it because there's some things down here a little more. Excuse me. Ethics seeks to resolve questions of human morality by defining concepts such as good and evil, right and wrong, virtue and vice, justice and crime. As a field of intellectual inquiry, moral philosophy also is related to the fields of moral psychology, descriptive ethics, and value theory. Ooh. Now, there's three main areas of study within this. Metaethics, which concerns the theoretical meaning and reference of moral propositions. Well, they're throwing around some big words, aren't they? And how their truth values can be determined. Truth values, okay? That's number one. Number two is normative ethics, concerning the practical means of determining a moral course of action. A moral course of action. Okay, now what is moral? Well, if you push away an intern for trying to do her job, you could say that's a little bit immoral. If you're going to stand up and dishonor the presidency, one could say that was a little bit on the immoral side. Now, number three, applied ethics, concerning what a person is obligated or permitted to do in a specific situation or a particular domain of action. Now, I did a lot of public speaking. I'm doing public speaking right now. But in high school, and I'm not trying to blow my own horn, but I was in a debate club. I did a humorous interpretation. We went around to different venues, and we had to do prepared speeches and so forth. And I went to the National VICA competition. I think it was in 88 or 89. And I won the state gold medal for extemporaneous speaking in the state of Georgia. And I placed seventh in the nation with extemporaneous speaking. So, and I've taught about public speaking, okay, but to the point, I know about this kind of stuff. So there are Robert's Rules of Order. So when you're in a particular venue and, you raise your hand, objection, that's what the chairman of the board, and when you see these subcommittees, they're supposedly, and from what I remember, they're pretty much following it. They're following basically what's called Robert's Rules of Order. Now, with that, there comes a moral obligation, meaning that you should morally keep your own. You have to uphold the rules, not whether you like them or not. It's a moral obligation on your part when you partake in these types of instances. If it's public debate or in a professional meeting, you follow these protocol. And if you're going to go to the thing, if you're going to be a part of it, then it's sort of like a given. You accept the moral conduct that is being presented for anyone who goes to this venue. So thus, as a reporter, he is supposed to be abiding by a certain moral conduct. Okay? He's supposed to be ethical. All right? He's supposed to be using um, applied ethics concerning what a person is obligated or permitted to do in a specific situation or a particular domain of action. Now, the domain in action in this particular circumstance was the domain was in the White House and the action was the press conference. So this man should had no ethics when he did what he did. Okay. Now I know I'm picking on the guy, but he should be picked on. And I'm not even going to go there for the people who are defending him. But I'm doing this video for several reasons. This is a very good example right now. Now I know why I didn't do this last week, because I would have had to do this video over. But in just looking at these three words, respect, honor, and ethics, look around the world. Look about the people you just voted for. I know there are some of them Democrats out there that I just got to go, what? Are these people, are they honoring their own position? Do they honor the United States as a senator or as a House of Representative? Are they honoring their own position? Are they showing respect to their true constituents who ask them legitimate questions and go, well, we don't need a wall. And, it goes on. And these same people who consistently and constantly try to beat up our president, whether you like Donald Trump or not, it's not the point. They're beating they're beating up the presidency. They're dishonoring the president by many of the actions that they do. And that is, guess what? Unethical. Whoa. And remember about what I said about the honor, that anybody that doesn't have honor, honor has honesty and compassion. It is an abstract concept entailing a perceived quality of worthiness and respectability that affects both the social standing and the self-evaluation of an individual, meaning the president, or the institution, such as the presidency and the White House, as such as family, school, regiment, or nation. Accordingly, individuals or institutions are assigned worth and stature. So that honor actually has a basis in you can have more honor if you own more land. It's a code of honor differs from a legal code. Also socially defined and concerned with justice, in that honor remains implicit rather than explicit or objectified. One can distinguish honor from dignity, which Wordsworth assessed as measured against an individual's conscience rather than against the judgment of the community. In the early medieval period, a lord or lady's honor was the group of manors or lands that he or she held. The word was first used indicating an estate, which gave its holder dignity and status. For a person to say, on my honor, was not just an affirmation of his or her integrity. Oh, Acosta has no integrity. But the veracity behind the phrase meant that he or she was willing to offer up estates as pledge and guarantee. So, if they said on my honor, they meant they were willing, they were willing to put their house up as collateral for what they said. And this is what they're discussing. And with respect, um, I wanted to find out. Oh, it's down here towards the bottom. I'm in need to respect for authority. Respect for authority is an indicator of good mental health. And so, moreover, it prevents the individuals from being harmed or harming others when they have respect. Individuals that have a pathological disrespect for authority are known as antisocial. So, these folks who are acting with this type of behavior are actually being antisocial because they refuse to honor their own position. Now, let's extend this from politics. I gave the example of my cat's pissed at me because I dishonored him. I threw him out of the kitchen and whooped his butt. Don't do that again. You're supposed to know better. Well, and he should have, but I shouldn't have whooped him. A couple slaps on the butt. I should have just thrown him out and said, no, don't do that. But anyway, I digress. But to the point, though, it has to do with honor. And it's not just honor to another person, it's honor to all things. It's not just a person, it's an honor to your dog. If you kick your dog's going to hate you. They're not going to come up and you're going to like, wow, no, it made you mad. Well, you're not having any compassion either or respect, okay. But in this transition period that's going on, that we're going through, we're going to have to learn what this respect, compassion, and honor, and what all these things are tied together. And it makes us ethical individuals. The ethics of this, meaning to be ethical, means that you have a moral code. What's a moral code? You have respect and honor for other people. How it's not really difficult. It is a few different words, but when you start with respect, and I know that when I was growing up, it was like, yes, ma'am, no, ma'am. And I still, I still say it to some folks. And even though I'm older than them, I still say, yes, ma'am. That I'm like, you're old enough to be my grandpa. Yeah, but you're a lady. You're a woman. You're a mother. You got 2 kids. So I say, yes, ma'am, to honor them and respect them. Okay. Now it's taken as being frivolous in a lot of cases, but that's not the point. I honor people and I respect them regardless of their opinions, except when they really try to do me harm. I don't respect that, but I don't have to seek revenge either. So different subject. But as this world event happened yesterday, it's a prime example of what needs to be learned by a lot of people now. The transition, this is part of this basic training. And if you side with Acosta, if you side with CNN, you're missing the point, because it has zero to do with him being a reporter. Actually, it means reporters are supposed to act within a certain moral conduct. There should be ethical in their presentation in honor of the presidency, not necessary. But see, when people want to defend Mr. Acosta, they themselves must not understand what compassion, what respect means, what honor means, loyalty to loyalty to his fellow journalists. Somebody, I think it was in another video, maybe, I can't remember, anybody and I was like, I'm sorry, but the guy was acting like a head, what? Yes, I'm sorry. That was the first. I mean, he was acting like a disrespectful to the other people in the room, who wanted to ask pertinent questions. I mean, there's just so many levels of this. But to try to spin it back around, that it was Donald Trump's fault and that it was the intern's fault and that she actually assaulted him when all she was trying to do was grab for the microphone. It was his actions. Okay, I'm repeating myself, but it needs to be made the point. He wasn't respectful. He wasn't operating in any type of code of ethics. He acted in an unethical manner. And that I ask you, look around in your own life and see, are you acting respectful of others? Are other people acting respectful to you? Or, how are you taking this? How can you fight this? How can you change this around? Are there people who are disrespecting you and, you continue to get beat up by them? Okay, get out of an abusive situation, and the abuse can be in many different ways, out disrespect, honest, if someone is like, well, I respect you, but they're not being compassionate to you, well, you go try to hang around them. I mean, what is it going to rub off? Well, in some cases, you may need to hang around some of these people, and maybe your behavior will help to change theirs. I don't mean you should sit and have somebody beat up on you. That's not what I'm talking about. Um, but I'll bring up something. It just happened a long time ago, probably 20 years, right around now. But a friend of mine who he helped me build a house many, many, many years ago, 30 years ago. And we played music together. We've done theater together. And somewhere along the line, he just thought I was nuts, and I was a little, but I think out of the box. There is no box to think out of. That's my point. And so it's like, somewhere down the line, he stopped respecting me just as a human being. He stopped having any type of compassion for me. And even when I didn't know what was going on, and then I started finding out he was being dishonest behind my back, and just weird things. And it's like, what happened here? Now, this person still holds a grudge, and I don't know what I did. I mean, I really don't. And my attempts at hey, I don't know what happened way back when, but somewhere we used to be friends and now we're not. Where did you lose the respect for me? Why did you start disrespecting me? I mean, what about this? I don't get it. Somehow he became unethical towards me. And he would do things that, literally to harm me. He told lies to people, that he made up stuff. I mean, it was like, why? I don't get it. When I tried my best to treat him as an equal, as I tried with everyone. Now, if somebody doesn't understand it, a particular thing like machining or woodworking or theater or public speaking, I will do my best because I'm supposed to be respectful to them. And I will say, may I show you how? Can I show you how let me show you this. Let me give you my 10 cents. See what you think, Where before I go, hey, you need to do it like this. This is the right way to do it. Yeah, and that's the wrong way to get your point across to somebody. But so I've learned myself, okay, maybe my idea is the best idea for the situation. But you have to let other people vent their ideas first, get them out in the open, and then sit there and go, well, and I've learned not to be belligerent to people, but in a compassionate way. Well, what about this? Oh, crap, I hadn't thought about that. Well, like in theater, they want to build a set a particular way, and there's only so much space, and you want to do as few scene changes as you possibly can. So, and in this respect, that's what I'm thinking of. And so it's like, and somebody said, well, we got to have this one. Well, how are you going to do that? Well, yeah, but you only got 10 feet, and it's going to take 12. How are you going to walk backstage? So you have to be kind with this, and you just at first I go, well, you people are just stupid. Don't you get it? It's just not going to fit. No, I have to be able to let these people voice their opinions, and then go, but what about this? So my suggestion is, well, can we get away with 9 feet instead of 12? Which is, and so I would suggest compromises rather than tell them they're full of crap. I was trying to be respectful because they had a good idea. It's just that it just didn't fit. And it wasn't that their idea was stupid, it was stupid for the size of the stage. But to the point, though, I had to respect their opinion. I had to respect them as human beings. And when I changed my point of view, I was able to work with damn near anybody. There was only one or two people in the many shows that I've done that I ever had any problems with, and we usually ironed them out by the time the show went up, you know. But to the point, so and you get people from all different walks of life when you're doing theater, you know, community theater. So, but anyway, and that's why I have a broad scope of how to treat people, how other people react from different strata, different religions, different customs, different nationalities, you know. And so I try to use this. And what I have learned over time is that, especially in certain conditions, and as being a board member with the local theater group several times over several years, you have to act within certain protocols within the meeting. The president opens, you thing, and you follow Robert's Rules of Order. You know, someone says, I object. You say, okay, it gets written down. I was secretary for a while. I would write down, okay, such and such objects. The order is called, a vote is pulled, blah, blah, blah. Okay. And there is a protocol to that. And Mr. Acosta and these other people should have honor in their own profession because they're being unethical as a journalist, as a reporter, as a person who is supposed to be upholding the professionalism of a journalist. So, right off the bat, as a journalist, I'd say, dude, I don't want nothing to do with you. I'm damn sure ain't going to, plead your case, you know. And if you two want to drag me into your little song and dance, I'm sorry, but I'm not participating. And that's what I'm asking people to do. You know, if you want to participate, then tell your friends and neighbors, listen, 3 words: respect, honor, ethics. What do you think this man did? Now, I love this about respect. I couldn't have planned this any better, you know, but it's right here in Wikipedia. Respect for authority is an indicator of good mental health. Antisocial individuals can intellectually comprehend rules, but they cannot understand why they should be respected. And so it's very obvious, simply by that definition, that Mr. Acosta must have a mental health issue. And that he is, by the definition, he is antisocial. He doesn't understand why anyone should be respected. It's written right there. Look it up for yourselves. I trying to beat the guy up? Yeah. Because other folks should understand. And we're supposed to learn about this. So why not use this prime example of everything that he did wrong as respectful and you know, loyalty to his profession. I didn't even get into that, but I'm going to try to keep this at an hour just because I think you get the idea about this. Now, what I'm suggesting to you, yeah, I'm picking on the guy, but he needs it. He deserves it. And I sincerely, you know, I've been in situations where I've lost my position or status or whatever because of my inappropriate behavior. And when I should have just been a little calmer and stayed within the protocol, but I showed my rear end like he did. Actually, not as bad, but to the point. I was disrespectful, and I deserved to be kicked off of the position I had. To be reprimanded. I deserved it because I was acting unethical to the position and to the protocol and to where I was at. I was a board member of the board of directors of the theater group, and I should have maintained. Now, other people trust me, they were a lot worse than I was. But to the point, my them going nanny nanny boo boo, shame on you. I deserved it. Okay, I showed my butt. I could have done it better, but I was much younger then than I am now, and those are the lessons that I've learned along the way. That's why I'm bringing this up. So, but as part of the transition phase for us to be learning, each one of us needs to look in our own life. Check the dog, check the cat, check whatever it is. You may not fully understand that somewhere in your day you may be disrespectful to someone, or not show compassion, or turn an eye, or something, or in some way that you act unethical. Bobby, maybe not telling the whole truth, or leaving some of the truth out, or or maybe just telling a bold-faced lie to get out of something. Don't know. But the thing is that every time we act in the opposite of these three words, if we are unethical, if we are disrespectful, if we are dishonorable in our actions, then we're collecting negative energies. We're lowering our frequencies. So, and that really is the bottom line in this. In all of this healing from the cosmos and of all the things we're learning, we're supposed to be learning to keep our frequencies high, to keep and not be trapped by some of these things. So I ask you calmly, I ask you with utmost respect, and I hope some dignity, that just look in your own life. I'm not picking on you. I don't know you folks personally so much, as except in the chat room sometimes. But I want you to just look in your own life, because it's about how we learn ourselves. It's what we learn along the way between birth and the death in this 3D world. And so, and if there's something that you can look at, that you can correct, that you may not have thought about before, then it's time to think about it. I didn't think that whooping the cat's butt for breaking in, chewing up 2 loaves of bread was like going to piss him off for a year, but there you go. Actions, reactions, unethical and less compassion. But so that's just an animal. But in in those explanations, it says person or animal. So, I mean, we're supposed to be respectful and compassionate to animals as well. If we have respect and integrity and honor the sanctity of life in itself, and if we are ethical human beings. And this all follows under the law of one: do no harm to any living thing, to anything. And yes, trees, rocks, and things, they're alive too. But to the point, though, to anything, we do no harm. We do our best to. Now, there are sometimes, like if we're walking through the grass, we're going to step on something. And until I can learn how to glide across the grass, I might kill an ant. I'm going to break some pieces of grass off. That's unintentional. All right. But even then, I can say, apologize before I walk. There are really higher values in this, whereas some folks would say that they would watch some of these monks, their feet would never touch the ground, because in doing so, they would dishonor the earth. And that they literally learned how to walk just above the grass, that there is an electrical force. And I watched a program today about how they use spinning vortexes, to create. It's not really anti-gravity. It actually uses the theory of gravity to its benefit, like two magnets, but not magnetic. Anyway, but to the point, though, there is science to prove that these things can be done. And what's to say that we as human beings, because there's been a lot of legends and stories and, and mythological about how people could walk, Jesus walked on the water, so, okay, it's in all different beliefs and in different customs and things in way back that some of these things could happen. But the way it happens is by respect, by honor, by being an ethical person, and by doing no harm. And that's, you create a vibration that, if that is really where your soul spirit is, then you'll literally walk above the grass so that you won't harm things. It works out, because the more you become in tune with these things, the more you get your frequencies correct, the more these things are going to manifest them things. And then you will understand that, yes, this idea that we are gods, I prefer to use the word angels, because angels are very powerful too, and that we are true spirit beings. And so there are more and more people who are pushing this out there. All right. Now, one other thing as I finish this up, there are a lot of people pushing this Planet X Nibiru thing, and that it's fixing to destroy the planet. Okay, that it's going to bump into the earth, and all these things are going to happen. And I'm here to tell you, there, some of these folks, I think they're being a little irrational in that they are using science and physics in this known 3D reality. And there are other things they don't understand. There are other things that are going on, but they're trying to convince, and there's some compelling evidence that there's some things out there, like Jupiter picked up another moon. What? Yep. I checked out Wikipedia, and when I was growing up, there's Ganymede. I think there was like 8 or 9 moons. Now there's dozens and 3 or 4 different kinds of orbits. Some of them are going this way, and some are going counterclockwise. And oh my goodness, oh my God, where did all of these new moons come up? Because I've looked at Jupiter through a telescope many times, and I'm like, well, I could see the 4 moons. Where all these other things come from? Okay, better telescopes, etc. But we kind of got them all of a sudden, if you will. All right. It's been in the last 20 years, Jupiter's picked up, 1,000 different moons, or 800. I can't remember what the number is, but it's a bunch. Look on Wikipedia. It's there. I was surprised. And it shows the different orbits. It gives all the names or designations of these moons. And in fact, I think within the last year, it stated in the article that 7 or 9 of these moons have kind of disappeared. Now, if there's all these rocks spinning around, it can be really easy to like miss one. And if there are several hundred, then you could, one could be flying behind another and you just not see it. So, but to the point though, in their tracking of these things, several of these things have disappeared. Well, in the recent last week, they've noticed, guess what? Jupiter's picked up a new moon. But now, I would be more worried about Jupiter picking up moons than I would be about Nibiru and some of this other stuff. And if you look at some of these things, there are going to be electrical discharges. They're going to be a lot worse than the planet ever hitting us. But I just seriously don't believe that we're going to get hit by anything. Big rocks? Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's some big rocks coming in. Space debris? Yep, it's here. I've watched it streak across the sky so many times. So just to let you know, there are those folks out there. And because of some of these galactic things that are going on right now, it's difficult for people to think without a box. There is no box to think out of. And they are trying their best to normalize their own reality with the science that they have. And I hold my respect for these people, but I want you all to understand, you can watch, but keep your emotions out of what they're saying, because they are seeing things, though some of those things are affecting us. But if they're where they say they are, and I'm just saying these things are artificial, and they're made by different races of people who've been coming in and out of our solar system for quite a while now, and et cetera. But these things that they're seeing and that they're catching, these orbs and these planet looking things, they're not planets. They don't act like a planet. because otherwise the earth would have already had more intense things happen electrically. Okay. And it hasn't happened, not the way that it should have. So I would just want to say there are truly things out there they're seeing. There are true anomalies being seen and recorded, but there is more science in this than they currently know. And in this transition period, this new bit more of it's kind of sort of the etherical world. It's the astral plane. It's the higher dimensional thinking. It's tuning into the quantum computer out there, and so that we can all look at this knowledge and go, "Oh, that's what that is." Well, and they have to try to think logically in this. So be kind to these folks, but don't get emotionally charged with it. Look at it, go, "Oh wow, that's interesting," but please stay out of the fear. They're trying to tell us all again that the planet's fixing to flip over, and there's too much centrifugal force for the planet to flip. We're wobbling, as I've stated before, plenty of evidence in that, but they're trying to tell us that everything's going to flip upside down, and now we're going to have 4 feet of ice everywhere north of Atlanta. Oh, stop it. Okay. Things are going to get wild. Things are going to get weird, but I'm sorry, the planet's not going to get destroyed like that. And if it does, none of us are going to be here to argue about it. But please stay out of the fear porn. Yes, there are things out there. Yes, there are things happening, but please keep your emotions out of what they're trying to sell you. Oh, the apocalypse is here, Mr. I almost said somebody's name. A popular pastor on this venue and others, the apocalypse is coming 4 years now in a row. Okay. But we keep getting closer, and they keep repeating these same Bible verses over and over. And yes, it's happening. That is true. But, these passages in Daniel, they're trying to get you all emotionally charged with a bunch of this stuff. Just realize that, yes, the signs are here. Yes, these other things are happening. Yes, we are in the third wave of a 5-wave kind of deal. Yes, we are picking up cosmic rays and dust. Yes, all these things are true. But these folks are thinking in a box and trying to think out of it. There's just more information there that they don't quite understand. Not yet. They're looking for it and they're searching, but keep your emotions out of this for your own benefit. Okay. The information's good. It's interesting to watch and read, but keep your emotions out, please, for your own sanity, for your own good, and to keep your core value, your core vibration in the correct place. Just saying. Just some advice from an old shaman. Okay. That's my job. So I truly love you all. Maybe you will take the time to look up Wikipedia, those 3 words, and just kind of read them for yourself, because I'm reading this to you and having this discussion, but for me, I have to go back in and read them myself so I can look back over them and go, "Oh, holy crap. This guy is he has a mental disorder, because he was disrespectful." Oh my God, it's right there in Wikipedia, So anyway, but it proves a point, and that we should just respect everyone. We should respect everyone and hold our compassion true. So my ending prayer, good morning to you all and blessings. I ask that each one of you will accept and receive the blessings of the universe. I will ask that you and your family will accept and receive all the healings and the knowledge from Source and from the Creator. I wish for you and your family, friends, and all of your relations to learn to understand that there is more to religion. Spirituality doesn't require religion, that the information and the healing and the knowledge is available to us at all time. All we need to do is ask Creator and open our hearts, open our minds, and keep the faith. So I thank you all for listening, paying attention, and spread the respect, spread the honor. Keep your keep yourself as an ethical person, and you will learn to transcend into this next paradigm much easier than some of these other people, because it's one of the things that must be learned. It must be learned, period. If you're going to go into a group of ETs and you have to learn that that one has got a certain thing, and that, much like the Chinese or the Japanese, where you bow, maybe you bow way down, or maybe you don't look at them in the eye. There are certain things you don't do. And if you're going to move into this new paradigm and this new understanding, you need to know what the rules are. And then you need to have respect and honor and an ethical point of view with a moral code. Otherwise, somebody's going to chop your darn head off. You go up to, an alien and you do scumty squanch, and you don't know what you're doing. And you have just disrespected honored memory of some, far off world, and the penalty is death. Sorry, sorry, Charlie, But those are the things we need to learn how to do. And for those like Mr. Acosta, who showed himself and who he truly is, he needs mental help, in my opinion, as per the Wikipedia, is that that kind of behavior is just not tolerated um, out there. It's just not tolerated. You learn where you are to be respectful to everyone, and you achieve a worthiness in the eyes of the other people. You can think who you think you are, but if you're a pain in the butt and everybody sees it, you can think you're the best thing in the world, but to the rest of society or the galaxy, you're still a pain in the butt because of your behavior. I choose not to be a pain in the butt if I can. That's my choice. Other people are narcissistic. This gentleman Acosta obviously doesn't understand, because he's shown no respect to Mr. Trump as the president or to many of the other people at the White House. He simply has no concept of the idea of respect, and therefore he has a mental disorder. He's mentally imbalanced, as per the definition. So let's not be mentally incapacitated when we need our starving neighbors. Or like for me, my Palladian brothers and sisters, I'm going to act respectful. I'm going to say, I'm bow to them in a courteous way. I'm going to try not to make direct eye contact unless, told otherwise. I'm going to keep my thoughts to myself. I'm going to, present myself as best I can. I'm going to show compassion and love to any being, even if they're getting ready to chop my head off. But, to the point though, if I do these things, then I will be worthy in their eyes to be respected back, to be accepted, to be a part of the galactic club. And some folks say, well, I'm a renegade. Well, okay, be a renegade. Then go to the renegade planet and hang out with all the renegades. There's a way to be a renegade and still play within the rules. I've been learning how to do it for years. I'll help teach you. But we follow certain moral and ethical codes. And we don't do what Mr. Acosta did. We should be better than that. And I think that's why I got so pissed off yesterday. The guy should be better than that. He should have. Where are his moral codes? He obviously doesn't have any. I mean, and then other people who are defending, it's like the moral code, and we've had this issue for a while. the moral code and the fabric of our society is like crumbling. It's because we don't honor each other. We disrespect one another. And we allow people like Mr. Acosta, who obviously, by definition, has a mental disorder, should not be allowed to be on the front row, 2.5 feet away from the president. And no, sorry, but you are disqualified from this particular thing. You don't even get to come to the kiddie pool yet. You're going to have to go play on a slip and slide a while. Just saying here. So much love, everybody. And there just seems to be so much more to try to convey with this particular subject. But I think I'm just going to end up beating a dead horse. So I love you. Sorry for the dead horse. And be kind, be sweet. And with this understanding, though, I hope you get this if you've stayed this long. So just continue to keep your core value as high as possible, and be on the lookout for things that happen in your day that go, whoops, that could have been one of them times. Maybe you could have reacted in an uncompassionate way. So you may not be doing something, but something may come up that maybe you would react in an unethical way. Stuff happens. So just saying. Spread the love, everybody. And this is 2:36 Eastern Daylight Time here on November the 9th, I guess, Friday morning. So blessings, everyone. If I don't see or talk to you before, have a good weekend. Keep it between the ditches. And